So the next section is coffee enemas, and it's really, really funny to speak to a client and we get to the coffee enema section and you see the face and you're like, oh my God, coffee enemas. Trust me, it's not as bad as what you think it is. The thing is with coffee enemas is that it's a bit of a taboo area, and doing coffee enemas and colonics and all that sort of stuff. It's a bit strange, it's a bit weird. I don't want to be putting things in that area and all that sort of stuff. What I would say to people is that, one, don't worry about it too much. It's a really, really simple procedure. And I assure you now, once you get going with it, you'll learn to absolutely love them. The second thing is very private. No one's looking at you. You can just do your coffee enema in the bathroom by yourself in privacy. It's not as if anyone's peeking through the window or watching you do it, or you've got to go to a colonic irrigation center to do it and all that sort of stuff. It's super, super private. So don't worry about it too much. Now, coffee enemas are a big part of nutritional balancing. And the reason being is that they are so healing, and they're amazing to heal the body and detoxify the body. If anyone's aware of Max Gerson, who did the Gerson therapy, he used coffee enemas on his cancer clients, and they were doing around 6 coffee enemas per day. And they're so powerful at drawing out toxins. Now, the enemas do multiple different things. And Dr. Wilson has arguably one of the most extensive articles on his website about coffee enemas. If you want to go in deep, check out that article. It's pages long, and it talks about so many different aspects. But in terms of healing, here are a few important points and reasons why coffee enemas are so good to do. One of the main ones is that a lot of people's digestive systems and colons are congested, constipated. If you think about it, if you've been living a life 20, 30, 40 years, the amount of food that just passes through your system is quite astounding. And when you're ill, generally you have weak digestion, you get clogged up in there, a lot of fecal matter stuck in certain areas, and it just kind of clogs up the system. And one thing that the coffee enemas does is it allows the system to flow more freely. It removes toxins that tend to be lodged in there, and this helps with gut flora. It helps balance out bacteria. It helps remove toxic metals that are often a big problem with things like leaky gut syndrome. Another really important thing that the coffee enemas tend to do is it stimulates bile flow in the liver. Now, the liver is one of the most important things to fix and to heal in anything. Most people's livers are severely toxic. Copper tends to accumulate a lot in the liver. Our livers get hammered day in, day out, constantly with thousands of toxins, and it's kind of hard to get to it. And one of the good ways of doing it is doing coffee enemas, because it stimulates the bile flow and it makes the liver detoxify itself. There's no way on earth I or many of my clients would have been able to heal if they hadn't have done coffee enemas, because of how powerful it is at drawing out toxins from the liver. It also draws toxins out from the bloodstream, which is also super important. Sometimes I'll get people ring me up and they're depressed, and sometimes they're suicidal. And I will tell these people, go and get a coffee enema kit. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, trust me, just go and get a coffee enema kit. And you'll thank me later. And these people will go and do a coffee enema, and multiple things happen at once. All the congestion will come out the system. You'll get a big toxin release from the liver. You'll get toxins that are drawing out of the bloodstream. And all of a sudden, they'll just get this wave of, joy or contentment or happiness, because all of these toxins that are making them feel incredibly depressed and suicidal have been given a little bit of rest by. It eases off temporarily, and it gives them a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. So this is how powerful it is. You know what I mean? When you've got someone sat here who's saying, don't take this medication, don't do all this stuff, do a coffee enema if you're feeling really bad, just goes to show how powerful they are. When I first began, I was in a complete mess. And when I did a coffee enema, I was just absolutely astounded at how powerful it is, at how much my brain just cleared up. Some other important benefits of coffee enemas is that it's a dark bean. It's yang in terms of Chinese medicine. And what happens is when you've got the hot, warm coffee in your abdomen, what it tends to do, it tends to draw energy downwards, which is really, really important in terms of grounding, in terms of yin and yang. It's quite a complex entity, which we might talk about a little bit more in the pulling down exercise. But when you're doing a coffee enema, the energy that people have in their heads in general moves down the body much, much more easily. You can meditate much more easily. And it's just, in general, a really, really nice experience. So don't worry about coffee enemas too much. As I say, the benefits are astounding. Go and check out Dr. Wilson's articles. I don't know if you want to add any more benefits, Susan.
I think you've covered it. Yeah, I think you've covered it. Helps get rid of parasites, you know, all sorts of things, which we all have. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and don't worry about if you see weird stuff in the toilet. Sometimes that happens because you're basically killing off parasites and tapeworms and various other flukes and other weird things in the body. And again, they're yin, what we call yin entities, yin bacteria, yin fungi. So having that yang energy in there, that yang coffee, really, these parasites hate it. They hate the environment, and they'll just get flushed down the toilet.
Perfect. Okay, so I just wanted to touch on again, just sort of harping on this, start slowly, even with the enemas, especially if you are a sensitive person. And what does that mean? That means start with a small amount of coffee. So a few things that I see that people do at the beginning, again, they kind of jump in with both feet. Start with just even a teaspoon of coffee. You can go up to 2 tablespoons, but until you know how your body reacts, I have some very sensitive clients that even start off with just half a teaspoon of coffee. So be mindful of that. You can always increase. And so throughout this whole program, just know that even if you start slowly, you can always increase. The other thing that I see some people doing is using too much liquid. So Dr. Wilson has said that this really should be an implant. Like, you should be using about 1 to 2 cups of water. This is liquid total. This is not a colonic. This is an implant. And some people find that they like to do them in the morning. Some people like to do them in the evening. Some people do 1 per day, or some people do 2 per day. So there's different schedules depending on your own body chemistry. In Dr. Wilson's article, he also talks about doing a back-to-back one, right? Where you do one for about 15 minutes and another second one you expel, and then you do another second one for about 15 or 20 minutes. So everybody's body is a little bit different, and I just always encourage people to start off slowly while they're getting used to that. Now, in terms of equipment, there's 2 basic sort of ways that you can go. There's a bag, and people normally when they think of enemas, they think of a bag. And then there's a bucket, and it's kind of personal preference. You can get a plastic bucket, you can get stainless steel, you can get glass. Now there's all sorts of stuff available on the internet, and I prefer the bucket because you can actually clean it a lot better than you can the bag, right? It's really open, but again, it's really about personal preference. There's lots of different things available. You want to make sure that you're using a gentle soap or a little bit of hydrogen peroxide, again, getting down to cleanliness, just to make sure that everything is clean after each time that you use them. I'm not sure if I wanted to add anything else on that. Lewis, does anything else come to mind about the different kind of kits or coffee?
Yeah, I think, as you said, the buckets are definitely the best to clean. There's so many different varieties out there. You can get silicone tips. Generally find that the plastic ones are pretty good. The aluminium stainless steel's good in general, but it can oxidize a little bit when you're using the stainless steel ones. But yeah, I've definitely found that the plastic buckets are the best. One thing we wanted to touch on is blood sugar. Usually I find that when people have blood sugar issues in relation to coffee enemas, they're usually using too much water. Again, similar to what we talked about in the last video of the sauna therapy, people think that doing a lot of what we recommend is going to be better, but it's not the case. So people will do 1 liter, 2 liters of coffee enemas. It's like, no, don't do that, because it can lower blood sugar. I found in general that if you're just sticking to the recommended 1.5 cups, the blood sugar issue isn't that much of an issue. If you do have a blood sugar dips before or after, just have a snack before or after the coffee enema, and that should even it out.
Yeah, that's perfect. And again, start slowly. You'll read on Dr. Wilson's website about doing like 2 back-to-back per day. Again, some people's bodies can do that and handle that, and other people's can't. So talk to your practitioner about, you know, what it looks like to start slowly. I've had even people start with just 1 per week, because they know that they're very sensitive. So, and again, I want to emphasize to people that doesn't mean that you're not doing the program. It means that you're doing the program to the best of your body's ability at that time. And as your body gets healthier, you'll just be able to do more and add more in.
Cool.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So I think that's it for coffee enemas. The next section is the pulling down exercise. So see you there.